which was already been upgraded. This is what we've done before the upgrading. So as you can see, the infrastructures are a little bit older because the facility itself was constructed in early 1980s. Okay, and same thing. There should also be a community engagement. Typically, in one of the major issues and challenges that we had are the illegal connections. What are illegal connections? These are connections that were routed or tapped to a main pipeline that has no water meter. Okay, and then some of them are lack of formal infrastructures, low level community awareness. So typically, that's the main cause of the water, say water leakage or water loss, or what we call the NRW, are the leaks. As you can see in the pictures, there are when our workers, or when our personnel dig a hole on that one, there are connection, interconnection within the main line. So basically, that's an illegal connection. Okay. As same thing, there are similar case studies and best practices that were made both by Maynilad and Manila Water. Okay, for Maynilad, basically it's more on the watershed project. Uh, the upgrading or the rehabilitation within the watershed of La Mesa, which is the one of the main source, has been successfully helped to conserve water sources while engaging local communities and reforestation efforts. As I do remember when I was still in elementary way back 1980s or early 1990s, my teacher always told me that in order to preserve the water, there should always be a tree planting. So that's why in every community extension project, tree planting is always on top of the list. Basically to improve the water resiliency and to conserve the water sources. And same thing, our counterpart, Manila Water, has initiated the rainwater harvesting program. This initiative is to install rainwater harvesting system, basically to store water, not really on to consume, to have it potable, but to use that one in the washroom as and to store that one in the cistern. However, there are also programs from MWSS that from the rainwater harvesting they incorporated or they provided they mandated both Maynilad and Manila Water to construct a rainwater harvesting and to have a separate potable treatment facility so that in times that there's water scarcity or there should be a water augmentation on that one. Okay. So there are future projections and goals for these projects. Basically, the water supply security by 2030. Say both Maynilad and Manila Water have aimed to reach the water supply coverage by 2025, which is this year. So including the provision of the uninterrupted 24/7 water supply. And same thing, the construction of the Kaliwa Dam, which will help in the additional 600 million liters per day by water supply in Metro Manila for 2028. And on top of it, there is also small or medium range projects that were being implemented, like the augmentation projects carried out by Maynilad and Manila Water, which includes the rehabilitation of the deep well or the underground water, as I presented that one in ECM 46 in Manila. Okay, and same thing, sustainability goals. So we are still aiming by 2030 to meet the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals number 6 to improve the wastewater treatment facility and reducing the water waste by 2030, or much better on the earlier. So there are so many plans that being plans and programs that were being implemented and conceptualized right now. And same thing, uh, the future uh, the futures are basically need to be implemented with some four policy recommendations as part of the TC26 goal. We need to expand the smart technologies. This is to use to enhance the use of the Internet of Things sensors and data analytics to monitor water distribution. And we need to strengthen the community engagement. We need to scale up the community-based programs in informal settlement and rural areas to ensure the equitable access of clean water and to properly teach them how to properly use the available water, and basically to increase the investment in climate resiliency projects. We need to accelerate the investment for the adaptation strategies such as water recycling, rainwater harvesting, diversified water sourcing, and to ensure long-term water security. uh, Members of the ASEC already uh, been toured to one of our major plans. We develop plans which utilizes we call it the water reuse, new water, because the water the effluent the source of water is coming from the wastewater. So on the 46 ECM, we had the plant tour on that one. So majority of of the participants in that 46 ECM actually toured, and some of them drink the water from the new water treatment facility. And same thing, as mentioned, we need to upgrade the infrastructures by prioritizing the replacement of the aging infrastructures, especially the high risk areas, uh, and to reduce the leaks and improve water quality. As we all know, uh, like what happened in Myanmar and in Thailand, there are we had you experienced the earthquake 2 weeks ago. Same thing, the major facilities in major infrastructure facilities, especially in Maynila and Manila Water, are upgrading their facilities to increase and to check on the resiliency to measure to counter or say we cannot really avoid the earthquake, but there should be a retrofitting and infrastructures work that were being carried out. Okay, I think this is my last slide. In conclusion, basically water resiliency in Metro Manila is involved combination of infrastructures upgrade, community engagement, and technically using of the technologies right now. Both the concession areas, Maynila and Manila Water, under the supervision of MWSS, are implementing effective strategies to enhance water security. Well, despite of facing challenges, similarly, I myself as a project managers, there are no projects. You cannot really complete a project without the problems and challenges. Okay, in implementing a water projects and managing water infrastructures, there are so many challenges like the rapid urbanization, the climate change, and the aging infrastructures as mentioned. But there are also countermeasures that we can really improve in uh, in we can really improve and we can really implement by proper legislative and proper documentation with respect to the water infrastructures. I think that as I mentioned, that's my slide. Again, I'm Engineer Robin Salenga. I thank April and Chris for the opportunity to share this, even though it's short a presentation. I hope the participants already have a knowledge on how are we in Metro Manila addressing the water scarcity in terms of capacity building. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. That was very interesting, and thank you also for helping us determine the topic for this session as well.
Thank you.
So, thank you. So we only have 20 minutes left in our session. So, Dr. Yadav, we're hoping that you can keep your presentation to 10, 12 minutes or so, because maybe we can go maybe 5 or 10 minutes over. But yeah, we'd appreciate that if you can keep the time down a little bit. Do we have Dr. Yadav? Yes. There it is. Yeah. There we go.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good
Thank
afternoon.
you for joining us.
Respected Dr. Uday P. Singh, Secretary General, Asian Civil Engineering Coordinating Council, Session Chairman, Ms. April Lander, Dr. Chris, distinguished panelists, participants, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I must express my gratitude for giving me the opportunity to make my presentation on this August occasion. Many distinguished panelists have already spoken, and they have dealt with several issues, challenges regarding the sustainability, infrastructure, water crisis, etc. I will talk on challenges in water resources and infrastructure, the Indian perspective. I am Professor and Dr. H.R.P. Yadav, currently Professor of Civil Environmental Engineering at Amity University, Gurugram, India. Earlier, I was Secretary and Director General, the Institution of Engineers India, the largest professional bodies in India, and also having 0.8 million membership strength in Asia. So in my talk, I would like to share some of the information regarding challenges for the water resources and its ongoing infrastructure. We all are aware that water is an essential component for survival of the mankind. In India, there is great scarcity of the water resources since the population of the country is increasing day by day and urbanization is also increasing. So these all are serious challenges being faced by the country regarding water resources. These challenges range from water scarcity, pollution, inefficient systems, inadequate urban water supply to the impact of climate change. So there is a need to address all these for achieving sustainable development and economic growth of the country. Major challenges in water resources and infrastructure include being India's population 18% of the world but has only 4% fresh water resources. The per capita average availability is also very low, that is around very few cubic meter per annum as per the statistics of 2022. The resources is decreasing continuously due to continuous increase of population and urbanization. Due to climate change, there is large spatial and temporal variations, and that's why India is facing tremendous challenges in the water resources. There is also lack of India's water infrastructure like large storage, reservoir, canals, etc. to evenly distribute water resources, increased hydrological uncertainty under climate change scenario, posing financial, social, and environmental implications. I will like to include some key challenges as uneven rainfall distribution, dependence on erratic monsoon, leading to the droughts and floods, over extraction of groundwater, which is giving depletion of groundwater resources due to pumping for agriculture and domestic use. Poor water management is also one of the salient parameters, inefficient irrigation systems, leaky water supply networks, and inadequate water treatment in the sewage plant. Industrial pollution is also one of the root causes which pollutes the water in the aquifers, different sources like rivers, ponds, lakes. Interstate water disputes is the major challenge. There has been a long dispute between the state regarding the sharing of river waters. Let us have a glance at this pictorial diagram. At the center, there is a population growth and urbanization, which poses several crises regarding the water resources like groundwater depletion, water pollution, inadequate infrastructure, and there is also too much water demand due to the huge population of the country, poor water use efficiency, lack of integrated planning, and interstate water disputes. These all are the major challenges in the field of water resources. This diagram indicates that due to the adverse effect of climate change, there is abrupt rainfall patterns, extreme weather events, impact on agriculture, water quality use issues like water pollution, melting of glaciers, rising temperature, and somehow policy governance also. These all pose serious challenges on the water resources and its depletion, and there is a threat of water security in the country. Let us have some statistics of the various states of India where there is total water availability in the billion cubic meter and per capita water availability in the cubic meters. Some of the states having less BCM, but per capita water availability is more due to their population. So this also indicates that there is a need of conservation of water resources. There is a need of modern infrastructure to keep the water intact so that the population of the country in various states can achieve the sustainable water for their purposes. This also gives the various aspects and their impacts. For example, total water availability receives an annual precipitation of about 4,000 billion cubic meter. Surface water resources, it comes from the Ganges, Brahmaputra, Mahanand, and other contribute significantly. These are the main rivers, important rivers of India. Groundwater resources, more than 60% consumed in agriculture and around 80% in rural water. So by understanding these, there is certainly a challenges regarding the water resources in terms of population, urbanization, and economic growth. I would like to include some key statistics regarding this. Only 4% of the world's fresh water are available to India. 600 million people in India face extreme shortage of water. Only 1,100 cubic meter per person water is available in India. Groundwater is a major source of water for irrigation, which is consumed 60% and 85% for drinking water. Rural areas, people face a tremendous scarcity of safe water for drinking purposes. What are the government initiatives and solutions to address such challenges? Government of India have framed several missions known as Jal Jeevan Mission, and this mission aims to provide tap water to every rural habitats by the current year. Atal Mission, in the name of the former late Prime Minister of India, late Atal Bihari Vajpayee, for rejuvenation and urban transformation. It focuses on improving urban water supply and sewerage networks. Another mission, Namami Gange program, according to that, the rejuvenation of the river Ganga. Micro irrigation scheme has also been launched, which encourages farmers to adopt efficiency of the irrigation methods like drip and sprinkler irrigation. Water recycling and rainwater harvesting, just Mr. Robinson elaborated. This promotes wastewater treatment rainwater conservation for sustainable water management. I would like to just throw some recommendations so that the water resources can be managed, can be preserved, and can be conserved. First, there is a need of efficient water use. Under this, water efficient farming methods to be adopted, deep irrigation, crop selection based on area water availability is of paramount importance. Infrastructure development needs to be carried out. For that, there is a need of investment in water infrastructure such as availability of the storage tanks, pipelines, treatment plants. These are the basic infrastructure for preservation of the water. Next is community participation. If we believe in community participation or adopt the practice of community participation, certainly the minimal use of water resources will be carried out. So that is also important. We must encourage community participation. The role of technology integration is also very much important. According to this, modern technologies need to be integrated, such as sensors, data analytics, remote sensing, to improve water monitoring management. Of course, policy reforms is very important. Without this, no strategy can be applicable and can be implemented. So there is a need of reform water conservation programs, including control and agriculture, etc. Certainly, there is a need of education and awareness which promote water conservation campaign through education and training programs. Empowered river basin organizations by the central government should also be implemented so that the central government on water resources of international river basins due to their significance can be achieved. This is very important nowadays. There is a big problem amongst the international river basins due to their regional issues. There is also a need of public-private participation so that the water resources can be managed properly by the private organization, and they should foster their entire energy and efficiency to keep the water intact and accessible to each and every people of the country. With this, I would like to conclude and finish my talk within the time frame that India's water resource challenges require a multifaceted approach, government policies, technological advancement, and community participation. This is very important. Sustainable water management, pollution control, and investment in infrastructure are essential to securing India's water future. If these challenges are not addressed promptly, they could pose a significant threat to the country's socio-economic stability. With this, I conclude. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. I hope I have finished well within time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yadav. That was an excellent presentation, and thank you for keeping to the time as well. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'd like to introduce our final speaker, Dr. Professor Nini Singh, and please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about yourself as well. And thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Because I'm short, I have to grab the mic from April. First of all, I would like to thank our president of Federation of Myanmar Engineering Society for giving me this opportunity to share our unique capacity building. And I also want to thank Secretary General Dr. Sai and Miss April Lander and Dr. Chris for giving me this opportunity. I am actually telling the story of our unique capacity building in Myanmar from 2012 to date, actually. So it will be a long story, but because of the time, to respect the time, I will make step by step, but only the gist. So before going through, I would like to offer you can all email me for clarification, more questions, and more information anytime, okay? Because I am going to rush. So the content is, as you see on the slide, collective conscience of Myanmar water professionals. Is actually starting from our president. He is and was one of 37. So the collective 37, we made it. 11 to 16 highlights water sector reform. And you see the previous speakers talk about policy, infrastructure need, everything and anything we need for the water secure country or water secure world. But for us, we need a reform. We really need a brave leader, and we had it once upon a time. The second part is 16 to 20, and the third is how do we cope the holy crisis. So the collective conscience, actually, if we travel to the past, we have a lot of help from international governments. The first one indicated international community bilateral cooperation. If we count, it's about 50 plus governments like Netherlands, United States, India, Japan, and you name it, Australia, and GWP, Global Water Partnership. It is a network, global network, with its all the members, and NABU, the Network of Asian River Basin Organizations for the Asian-wide 63 countries. Currently, I'm the vice chair of NABU. And INBO is International Network of River Basin Organizations. And JICA, the Japanese the development aid arm, and ICIMOD is for Himalayan countries, and IMI, the International Water Resources Institute with CGIAR, the greatest network of the water research, and many more. It cannot be covered in one slide. What did they do? They help Ayawadi, Selwyn, sit down, Bago, move. So it is about the rivers, then the rural area, then the cities and urban, issue-wise, theme-wise, wash, and remote areas. Plus, 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 because I couldn't put in one slide. Then the question comes to all the Myanmar water professionals. What do we see? And what do we expect to see? And that expectation and the actual happening with all these numbers of donors and supporters are having a big gap. For example, we want 1,000, but on ground we see 500, despite the fact that we have all this support. So the lessons learned, we need for solidarity. We all have to work together. We need the integrity and we need the integration. Only then we can have the collective effort. So here we go, but we need the good leader. So in 2011, we got the first ever democratizing government. The government promised we are going to democratize. Thank you for your presentation. It was music to my ears. And then the, sorry, I have to go back. So we were able to do the advisory group, and we were at the first meeting, we were 12. Then it grew to 37, from 11 to 13. But it is purely professionals. No one asked us to do what to do. And we have that kind of urge that we have to do something for our country. Then in 2013, the government say, okay, we will form the committee, Myanmar National Water Resources Committee. Then, of course, they officialize the advisory group, at 37 of them. Then we have started very energetic work, water awareness raising nationwide. The first ever World Water Day celebration was held in February, 2014, in MES Function Hall. So you see, Federation of MES, Myanmar Engineering Societies, is also the professional association, and it is independent one. It is non-governmental and non-political. And all these ECs, they come from the voting, fair and square voting. So this is how we started. And of course, the government picked up. So we have made the policy draft, and then we published in February 2014, and the government recognized in August 2015. It's all over the media. And World Bank supported ABM project, Ayeyarwady Integrated River Basin Management Project, with 100 million United States as concessional loan, which means no interest. So the Ayeyarwady Integrated River Basin Management (ABM) project is a multi-phased initiative funded by the World Bank, aims to strengthen integrated climate resilient management and development of the Ayeyarwady River Basin and national water resources in Myanmar. So we have this, and this is the committee, National Water Resources Committee, and it has a mandate as apex body of the Myanmar national government and also the water sector. So for the theme-wise, we do integrated water resources management, we do the disaster risk reduction, we also do the WASH, and with the WASH, we also supported water is a human right. For the technicality, we have this hydroinformatics as the basic advanced technology, and social science and natural science together. Then gender, diversity and inclusion. And then, if I may recall, the first time I introduced what do we need, what do we get, and what do we aim for? And this is it. This is so very important, the team building. So we have divided that 100 million to component one, component two, and component three. I was asked to lead the component one because it is the water sector reform, because it was also my dream together with our advisory group members, 37's dream, collective dream. So we did it, and of course, we use the advanced technologies like lidar, drone, GIS, remote sensing, and lately, artificial intelligence. So again, for the climate, Asia is very vulnerable, and Southeast Asia is also more vulnerable than the rest of the Asia. At that time, Myanmar is the second most vulnerable in Southeast Asia. Therefore, we use the GIS applications in climate science. So this is actual also mentioning the sources. And also, we try to make the capacity building for these target groups, 1 to 7. That is why my presentation title is a unique capacity development. So when you recall, 50 plus governments bilaterally helping us to Netherlands, we were going for scholarship, full scholarship for postgraduate degrees in water. It is like 80 per year. But after 1988, the help stopped. So that kind of, up and downs. However, we have quite fine professionals, very fine professionals. But what we need to do is we have to bring the top tip top. I'm saying tip top, okay? Layer government. And then the cabinet, of course. Some ministers are juniors, only the seniors are in the cabinet. We need to target the cabinet. And then the parliamentarians in Myanmar, we have two parliaments. And for the one is the lower parliament and the other is the upper parliament. So four is water related ministries. And not only the ministers, we need to also capacitate their staff and their laborers, even the blue collar, and universities, teachers and students, and schools, basic education, teachers and students, and the grassroots, wet markets and libraries, the community libraries. And we actually did all these things, and these are the some example of the proof. And how do we discuss in this kind of capacity building? We talk about the input, we talk of the project or of the activity, the input, then the output, then the outcome, then the impact. So you see, we are doing very systematically. We know if we have some input, we get something. I will not go for the small details, but what I was saying is our community is aware of each and every activity should give output, and then further to the future, there is an outcome. And then for the wider community, there is an impact. So we did that, and also we have that group work, and down to earth, we have this kind of little water storage tank. With this is the waterproof cloth, and it is for the displaced, internally displaced people, and also people who has to move from A to B. The second part, you know why second part? The first part was governed by one government, and now is we have the 5-year term government. So now we are going to the second term, second government. At that time, we just carry on with here. I just put in Myanmar, but I will speak in English. On 25th of July 2013, the National Water Resources Committee was formed by the presidential decree. So what happened is when first president relinquished his power and the position, the incoming president need a clean slate to do his own job with his own tools. And the tools are sometimes called committee, sometimes called commission. So NWRC is one of this kind. Therefore, it was dismantled, decommissioned, on 30th of March 2016. So in